Hey everyone, so I'm going to make this video today to talk about exactly what I am looking at, pre market before the market opens, and how I am determining what trades I'm looking to take for the given day, how I determine what my bias is, and all that good stuff. So, the first and most important thing you want to be doing is checking our economic calendar. So, actually, this one might be a little bit better. Let me update it. Okay. So you need to be looking at your economic calendar. And another thing is that you need to be waking up at least 30 minutes before market open. At least. Please, please be ready. I know for my people who are on Pacific, it's difficult. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. It's hard, but you got to do it, especially if you are in the phase of not being profitable and you want to become profitable, you need to be prepared. That's the most important thing when it comes to trading. You can't wake up 5 minutes before the market opens and expect to take a great trade. That's not how it works. So, first things first is you need to have a morning routine. Get up nice and early before the market opens. Do what you need to do if you are on East Coast time. Maybe the market opens at 9:30 for you. Maybe you want to go to the gym before. Do something, wake up sometime early enough to where you can plan out your day and everything you want to be taking. Next thing is you need to look at the economic calendar and see what type of data we have. Obviously, I would be doing this the night before because sometimes data will come out an hour before the market opens, so then we get a big move. So I would just have a basic understanding of what may go on the next morning, and then also take a look back at it the next day, especially if we have something important coming out like CPI 1 hour before market open, non-farm payrolls 1 hour before market open, any of that you want to know that's going on. So take a look at the economic calendar, make sure you know what's going on for tomorrow. We got a couple Fed speakers, and that is mostly it for our economic data for tomorrow. Next thing you want to do is mark out your levels. So when I trade options, I trade off support and resistance levels. When I trade futures, I've been trading ICT. So I do use two different strategies, but I'm just going to show you my strategy for options. So I will go on generally the 1 hour or even maybe the 30-minute time frame or the 4 hour. It kind of just depends on the range that we're currently in. And I mark out my levels for the day, and I do this at least 30 minutes before the market opens, and I also send it to my community and let them know, here's all my levels for today, and here's what I'm looking at. So while I'm doing this, though, I'm obviously not marking out levels on every single stock on my watch list, but I go through and I pick which is lining up most with what I was looking for this week, which is following my trading plan that I already had set this coming week. So I go through, mainly every day I do mark out QQQ and SPY and Tesla just because I trade Tesla a lot. So those are the three big ones. But sometimes it changes. Sometimes I'll mark out Nvidia. Sometimes I'll mark out Meta. Sometimes I'll mark out Coin. Sometimes I'll mark out Google. Sometimes MSTR. It kind of just changes depending on what I'm seeing that day, pre-market, and what kind of moves we are getting. So first thing, mark out my levels, especially on Qs and SPY. First thing I'll do, go to the 1 hour, kind of see where we're at, see where pre-market is at, and mark out those strong levels. So for example, for today, I had 515.32 marked out. So that was this level like right here. This 513. Oops. This one right here, this 513, and then obviously we just continued up above it. You could have taken a trade based on that, and then I worked out my support level, which was this 512.29, this lower bottom level, which if you zoom out a little bit, you can also go back here, and that is really important to do, and to make sure your levels line up with past prices, because that's really important. Again, stocks trade level by level. That's just kind of how it goes. So mark out your levels, pre-market. You want to be doing that. The next thing you would want to be doing is, okay, so whatever, open up my charts for the day. You want to make sure you know pre-market high and pre-market low. So you know the current range that pre-market is in. Why this is important is because it will set up a general bias for the day. If we open up and we, right away start trading above pre-market high and we get a hold above there, my bias for the day is going to be bullish. Generally, we're going to look bullish until I see some sort of break of maybe a level that I've marked out. Obviously, we may not see a break of pre-market high again because, for example, like a day like this, where we just got a straight continuation up with no retracement back, that would be a good example. But it is really important. And again, same thing goes for pre-market low. If we open up and we start trading below, my general bias is going to be that we are bearish for the day. That's just where I think we're headed. Obviously, I'm not going to solely base my trades off this. We could break back above, we could get a break of structure, doesn't matter. But you want to just kind of know and mark that out as your general bias. And you also want to be marking out maybe previous day high. For this day, it was Monday, so Friday, maybe you want to be marking out previous day high and low as well, which I think is also really important. But pre-market is especially important for that. So you want to be doing that, and you want to just be generally scanning through stocks. What is already moving nicely pre-market? So I already saw Tesla pre-market. We were kind of getting a hold of this 335, 334 area, and I already thought to myself, okay, if we continue holding above here and we get a break of 337, which was my key level, then I might look to, place some calls on Tesla. If we get a break of structure, we break below this area, that's where I'd be looking to take some puts potentially. And you can do that with everything. Also, NVIDIA, I did the same thing, which is NVIDIA I marked up for today as well. I was already looking at NVIDIA. We were holding up nicely in general. My bias was already bullish for today, just because I thought that the credit downgrade was a huge overreaction on Friday. And same with overnight market last night. We were getting an overreaction. We were continuing to drop, and I did think the market was going to recover, and I had a bullish bias. Of course, I wasn't just basing that out of thin air. The market has been really strong for the past 2 weeks. Credit downgrade wasn't the biggest deal in the world. Obviously, just shook up the markets for a little bit. And then we got our continuation. So that is generally my general bias for today, and then I base what I'm looking at around that. So you want to be marking out, let's mark out pre-market high and low, and marking out your levels for this day, which it should be on usually the 1 hour time frame, and you want to make sure you're looking back as well and making sure that is a past level, or maybe you already have it written down somewhere and you know that is a past level. So you want to be doing that as well. If you are looking at trading Coinbase or MSTR or Mara, you have to be looking at Bitcoin. So, for example, if I were to, mark out Coinbase levels on my chart today, which Coinbase, we didn't get too much movement, and which I already saw that. We were already pretty choppy. Bitcoin wasn't really moving anywhere, so I just kind of left it alone. But if you were, to have Coinbase, MSTR on your watch list and wanted to be maybe trading those that day, you would also have to take a look at Bitcoin and see where Bitcoin's at and see where Bitcoin's holding up, see where if Bitcoin's breaking above a certain point. All those things are really important to take into account. So, yeah. Couple things. Again, I'll go over them one more time. You want to be looking at economic data, most important. You want to be waking up at least 30 minutes before the market opens. You want to have a general bias for the day and marking out all your levels, mark out pre-market high and low as well. And then, start to shorten the list of stocks that you're looking at to trade for today by figuring out, what range they're in, which one has more volume, which one looks like it is going to break out of my level, which one looks most promising, all that good stuff. So that is kind of my general morning and what it looks like when I go to prepare for the trading day. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me, and make sure to join me in my community. It is linked in bio. That is where I do my live trading. That is where I do all my teaching. That That is where I do my live call outs and analysis. So if you guys want to get in on that, make sure to join me in my bio. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all later.